G'day, this is Ben Jam, the Sunday Chef, and today we're going to be cooking French onion soup. I've got a variety of different onions we're going to be choosing from, some yellows and reds and whites, and some shallots here. We've got our staple cooking sherry. I've got my bone broth. I like the bone broth over the chicken broth or the beef broth. I made this a couple weeks ago. I've got my, I like sourdough for my crouton, and I also like Swiss cheese versus other cheeses that people like to use. I like the tanginess of the Swiss cheese and stuff like that. We're gonna use a little butter, but not much. Okay, so another thing that we need to have is a heavy-duty cast iron pan. I've got my large 9-quart La Creuset pan we're gonna be using, and we're also gonna be doing the croutons over there on the cast iron lodge grill or griddle, and we're also going to be using the oven to finish this all off. Okay, so let's get started on this. Today I'm going to be using about 9 to 12 onions, but I get my first 3 chopped up and I get them into the pan, and I keep adding on to it. So this way, the caramelization takes place over time. Usually this caramelization takes over about an hour to do, but I want to get my first round in first and start to caramelize down, and then I add more on, and I add more on, and I add more on. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do now. Okay, so after that marathon cutting session, we've now got our 9 to 12 onions in the pot. And they're at different stages of caramelization, as you can see. Some of them are caramelized, some of them are just getting there. Don't worry about it, we're going to be cooking these down for about an hour. The reason I put the top on is because I want to sweat the onions first. It speeds up the caramelization process. If I don't have the top on, the onions take a longer time to sweat down first, and then they begin their caramelization process. So we'll come back to this. I've added olive oil and a little bit of butter into it to assist in the caramelization process. So we're gonna come back to this. Every 20 minutes, come in and stir it. I've got my temperature right now on medium, but sometimes I'll come and adjust it down to low. With a big, heavy cast iron pan, it retains a lot of heat. And so low or medium should be fine. This is a slow process. You want to get these golden brown and delicious. You want all of that goodness of the onions to come out. We're going to deglaze the bottom of the pan at the end with a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Little secret that I do is add just a little bit of apple cider vinegar to this to spice it up just a little bit, okay? Oh yeah. Okay, so we're pretty much caramelized there. We're gonna go ahead and add 1 cup of sherry wine to it to deglaze the pan and to cook it a little bit more. We're gonna simmer this for about another 4 or 5 minutes before we add in the bone broth, and let that simmer for 45 minutes. Okay, it's looking really good. All right, so our onions are pretty much completely caramelized down. That's what we want. Nice golden brown look. The sherry really did its job, you know, and kind of melding those together. Now, Now we're gonna go ahead and add our bone broth. Now I've gone ahead and heated up the bone broth, and so we're gonna add the bone broth into the actual mix. Okay. No, gonna have to use a hot pot for that. I'm going to go ahead and turn this up just a little bit. I'm not going to go ahead and I'm just going to leave it slightly open so that it can evaporate a little bit out. Okay, so let's check back on that in about 35 minutes. Okay, so the soup is just about done, so we're going to focus on the croutons. Sometimes I'll do butter on my croutons, and sometimes I'll do olive oil on my croutons. So it all depends on what flavor you want. I personally like the olive oil. I'm gonna do half and half on this one. I usually put it on both sides, but we'll go ahead and work our way over to the oven or the stove where I've got the plate hot, okay? Pick these up and go over. You can see our pan is at smoke point. That means it's the right temp. I'm gonna go ahead and put these down. Pretty close together to each other. I'm going to use the press here to get a nice even char on them, or whatever you want to call toast. We'll come back to that in just a minute when they're done. Okay, those are looking pretty good, aren't they? Nice and crispy on both sides. You want it pretty crispy. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start building our soup bowls, okay? I'll meet you over there. All right, well, we've got the oven preheated to 425. I like cooking at a little higher temperature than most people. We're gonna go ahead and spoon our soup into our bowls. Okay, and then what we do is when we get a bowl, we go ahead and put a crouton on top of it. And then we got our cheese. I cut these cheese to be perfectly on the round. You can also get them to spoon over. Let me get this done and I'll meet you at the oven, okay? So they're all ready to go. We're gonna stick them in the oven. 425 for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. We're gonna watch them. We want that to bubble up and be delicious. The last 2 minutes I put it up to broil, but I don't walk away from it. The cheese was melted and everything like that, but I wanted it to bubble and kind of bake the cheese. And so that's what I put it up to broil. All right, let's take a look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice and bubbly, nice and goodness. Oh yeah. Well, there you have it. French onion soup, Benjamin style, or Benjamin Sunday Chef style. I hope yours turns out this good. We're gonna eat now, okay? See you later.
Yeah, I like to keep it mellow.